Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl winning head coach, and I'm a friend of the program, as I hope to say, because I know he doesn't do this very much. He is on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line right here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Coach?
Great. Certainly a friend of the program, Rich.
Thank
Always
you, Coach.
appreciate what it is you do.
Thank you so much. And believe it or not, we were just talking about, I was at Dave Chappelle's comedy show last night, Coach, and how he takes your cell phones away. Like, you cannot have your cell phone. Like, you got to put it in a pouch just to go into the arena. Do you do that with your players now? Do you take their phones away?
No. We're so far beyond that. Technology is such a component of what we do. You know, guys take pictures of the notes on the board with their phones,
okay,
et cetera. It's just a part of our life.
So because I'm just wondering if they don't dare do anything untoward now anymore with you, I'm sure, with their phones.
No, we just proceed with the assumption that they're utilizing it for professional purposes.
I love that. Okay, let's get into the football part of this conversation then, Coach. You and I spoke, along with my colleagues on NFL Network the other day, about your quarterback room now with Kenny Pickett in it. So let's get to Kenny Pickett and what you liked about him and why you chose him 20th overall in the draft, Coach.
You know, first of all, you know, he had a couple elements of his game that were really attractive when you're talking about the quarterback position. His ability to anticipate and his professional level accuracy. Oftentimes the college guys have a ways to go in those areas. And when we talk about someone having a high floor at the quarterback position, usually it's because they're pro ready in those areas. And he was. We also had the proximity angle, and we just had a bird's eye view of his growth and development, not only as a player, but as a person, as a leader. And he does the things that comes with the quarterback position in a very natural way, whether it's dealing with and leading teammates, whether it's media responsibilities and so forth. None of that appears to be a chore for him. It happens in a very natural way, and I think that's an asset to him.
So the first time you ever saw him would be when you would stroll into Pat Narduzzi's office, practice across the way there in Pittsburgh? Was that the first time?
Yeah, we run across those guys quite a bit in passing. In particular, you know, just being neighborly. Over time, you learn who the quarterback is and so forth, and so you can say, hey, you know, good luck this week and things of that nature. And so he and I had an opportunity really over the course of 3 or 4 years to establish a real friendly, informal relationship and kind of get to know each other, you know, without the speed dating component of the draft process.
Now, as you know, we in the media and certainly the talent evaluation community, we can get stuck on the details and the nitty-gritty and things that may or may not be of importance. What was your take on the whole idea that his hands are too small to perform in the NFL, Coach?
You know, I potentially was capable of buying into that if I didn't watch him play college football in Pittsburgh and deal with the elements that comes with playing in this environment. And so, you know, you can get into the hand size thing, or you can just look at how he performed in a variety of conditions, and we have those conditions here in Pittsburgh. And so there's very little speculation from our perspective about how he might handle the ball in a, you know, inclement weather, wet days, et cetera. They played North Carolina here on a Thursday night. I actually went to the game, and it was raining pretty good that night. Had no issues, and so it was probably less of an issue for us as it was just in terms of some of the draft chatter.
So now he hits a quarterback room with Mason Rudolph and Mitchell Trubisky. And how do you expect the competition to go? What do you expect?
You know, I expect it to be fierce because I know all three guys. I don't expect anyone to take a back seat. You know, the challenge is from a structure standpoint, man. Are we providing enough of a platform for all the guys to show what they're capable of? And so that's going to be the challenge component of it. I'm excited about watching these guys compete, man, just like I am at any position where you got some viable options. And so, you know, we'll proceed with that understanding that, you know, it's going to be challenging from an organization standpoint, but it's a good challenge. And and I'm excited about watching those guys perform.
And then in terms of a level of expectation as you as a head coach, there's a large conversation going on in the NFL media over the last 24 hours that Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, again, I know that's not your house, when talking about Malik Willis, saying it's not his job to mentor Malik Willis. And then, of course, you have your own experience with Roethlisberger back in the day when you drafted Mason Rudolph, saying that if he asks me a question, I might just have to point to the playbook. What is your level of expectation for Trubisky and Rudolph with Pickett in the room to get him up to speed?
You know, it's good when it occurs, but it's certainly not necessary. That's why we have offensive coordinators, quarterback coaches, assistant quarterback coaches. People are employed, and their sole focus is the development of players. You know, certainly there's growth and development opportunities and learning opportunities among players, but it is definitely not their function. Their function is to have themselves ready to go and be good teammates. And I think, you know, that's probably what you speak to just in terms of providing common human decency and courtesy to someone. If you can help them along the way, I'm sure Ryan is open to that. But I think he was just stating the obvious that he's not employed to do that. He's employed to play quarterback.
Mike Tomlin here on the Rich Eisen Show. George Pickens, a second-round selection for you. And, you know, Kevin Colbert, who is now leaving his position but still, you know, going to be around. You and he and the rest of the staff together have just had a remarkable run finding receivers that work for you in whatever system that you are running. How does Pickens potentially fit into what you've been able to spot at that position over the last 15 some odd years, Coach?
You know, really, you know, first we acknowledge that they come in all shapes and sizes, and they do. At that position, probably more than any other. And then you're looking for distinguishing traits, and he has that. He's a big guy, 6'3 plus, with little guy body control. His ability to change direction, his ability to stop and start, his ability to drop his weight is like that of a much smaller man. And so that was the trait that really attracted us to him. He's a competitor. He's got easy hand-eye and ball skills, and obviously that's a major component of the position as well.
So when it all comes down to it, how open are you to a quarterback and wide receiver, two rookies starting together at such an important connective point?
You know, I'm open. I've learned to be. You know, when you got red paint, man, you paint your barn red, man. If those guys are deserving, then we'll play them. We played, I think, 4 rookies on offense last year because they were deserving.
So you think Pickett has a shot to start at the position this fall, you would say?
Everyone. I don't want to overstate it, Rich,
yes,
but certainly he's not going to be excluded from the opportunity.
Mike Tomlin here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about your role on the competition committee. Were you in favor of the new overtime rule, Coach Mike Tomlin?
You know, I'm an overtime purist. I am. The rest of the committee laughs at me when the discussion comes up because I'm a sudden death guy and always have been, but I lost that battle maybe a decade ago. I just believe if you played 60 minutes of football, all the teams have had a legitimate opportunity to state their case for winning the game, and I'm just trying to land the plane as quickly as possible after that. and so I try to, you know, keep that simple spirit and that simple component of it. But obviously, based on what has transpired, something needed to be done relative to last year, and I was for what we decided. But largely, when you're talking about the subject of overtime, in spirit, I'm a sudden death guy.
What do you mean they were laughing at you? Who laughs at Mike Tomlin in a competition committee? What are you talking about? They were laughing at you.
I get laughed at often, Rich.
I'm with you though. We're purists too. I'm with you because in the same playoff last year, and I know you were referring to, you know, in light of what happened between the Bills and the Chiefs. Next week, Chiefs in overtime again got the ball first again, but the Bengals picked them off in a way that the Bills couldn't. And the next week, it was a different outcome, but the same scenario. So I'm with you as well. That said, what do you think you would do? I understand, I'm sure there's many different permutations that you and your staff will look at. Don't you think it would be better now to get the ball second in overtime as opposed to getting it first, even though getting it first would guarantee you an extra possession if you are all square after the first go-round? Coach?
Yeah, I think the conventional approach moving forward is going to be to play second, so you know the parameters of your decision making.
Right, because you want to. If you've got to go for it if you get the ball first, you're not going on it on 4th and 7 from your own 25, right? I mean, you're gonna punt and play defense. But if you get the ball second and you have to score, of course you're going to go for it 4th and 7 on your own 25. This is an unintended consequence. I don't know.
It's no question, and that's why I always bring up the subject of unintended consequences and why I firmly remain dying on the hill of sudden death overtime that I died on a decade ago.
So I know I might be putting a crimp in my plan here that I've constantly been pounding the table for, but you are on the competition committee, and I'm going to take my shot here. I think we should change the rule that if you fumble into and through the end zone, the ball goes to the defense. There should be some sort of a reverse touchback, or a 10-yard penalty, and the team that fumbles through the end zone still gets the ball from the same down, but maybe not the same distance. What do you think, Mike Tomlin?
I understand, why that topic is so debatable. But for me, I like the rule as it is. I like the emphasis that it puts on ball security and the fact that you should secure the ball as you search for the line to gain. And so there should be extreme risk with reaching that ball out for a goal line or doing careless things as it pertains to possession of the ball in an effort to score. We're all trying our best to score. We're all trying our best to prevent scores. And I just love the emphasis on ball possession that rule, has on those that, are carrying it.
Okay, so would I be laughed at in the room of the competition committee if I brought that up? Would I get the laughter response?
Yeah, you probably would, but it wouldn't be indicative of anything.
Thank you, Coach. There's the common decency you were just referring to moments ago. I appreciate being on the business end of that. What about the taunting rule? Did you like the way that it was adjudicated last year, Coach Tomlin?
I did. I think it was called 61 times. I think we reviewed them all. I think it was 4 that we wish hadn't been called. Obviously, those 4 or 5 get a lot of the attention, but you can't argue with the spirit of what we're trying to get done. We need to own the responsibility that comes with being great examples for young people that are involved in the game.
Was one of those that you wish wasn't called? Was that Cassius Marsh of the Bears staring at your bench? Was that one of them?
I reserve my opinion because I was directly involved, but other members of the committee were really comfortable with the way that play was officiated.
Was he staring at you? Is that what you're saying, Mike? Was he staring at you, Cassius Marsh?
He probably was.
Okay, very good. Before I let you go, sir, what about you? You're now entering year 16. How are you a different coach now than you were when you first took the reins in Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin? What about you?
I'm smarter, but smarter because of scars. You grow, and oftentimes growth is usually associated with failure. And so I've experienced a lot over the last 15 years, and hopefully I'm better for it, and hopefully I can apply those lessons learned to the crop that I'm working with this year. I know that's always the goal. I better be continually getting better in the same ways that we challenge our players to do similar things.
And we always hear when you're talked about, Coach, and you hear it yourself, is that you're a player's coach, that you're somebody that knows how to relate to the NFL players of today. What is your philosophy on that, Mike Tomlin, that you can share? I have a bunch of individual relationships. I don't try to treat people the same.
that's an impossibility. I try to treat people the way they deserve to be treated. And so I have a bunch of individual relationships, and it's something to manage. But, you know, as they say, that's why they pay me the big bucks.
And how much longer do you want to do it? What do you think? Because I know people probably knocking on your door with certainly, you know, your way of communicating is so unique and so excellent, and your way to boil things down so simply is perfect for broadcasting. I'll be very honest with you. What about how much longer you want to maybe keep doing this, Mike Tomlin?
You know, I love what I do, and so I'm singularly focused in that way. I hear some of that chatter, but it doesn't move my needle. The challenges that this job holds does, and it does continually. I'm fired up each and every day, and I'm just thankful to have the opportunity that I have to compete in the Ultimate Competitors League.
Well, I want to thank you, not just for calling into the show, but, you know, you provide, I don't know if you're aware of this, you provide this show with some of the greatest sound bites that we keep playing over and over and over again, Coach Mike Tomlin, especially this one with the USC job. That came
never
out.
Say never, but never.
That's fantastic. Did that come off the top of your dome, or did you, like, say when you walked to the podium, you knew you were going to get asked that, and that was going to be your answer, Mike Tomlin?
It kind of came to me. I probably shouldn't have been as annoyed as I was, but it's game week, man. I get singularly focused on real challenges, man. I was just annoyed by the line of questioning.
I mean, that's truly one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's never say never, but that's the way to shut the door. That's the way to shut the door. And
yeah, I didn't want a follow-up question.
if my memory serves, you didn't get one, did you?
So mission accomplished.
Well, I appreciate that. That's not your sense when you see my request for you to call into the show. So always appreciate that, Coach Tomlin, and I look forward to the next time and when I see you again. Thank you.
No, much respect to you, sir. I just always appreciate the way you present what it is that we do and support what it is that we do. Thank you.
Now, right back at you, Coach Tomlin. Thanks so much. You be well. Best to your family, and we'll chat down the line. Thanks for calling.
No doubt. Take care.
You got it. That's Mike Tomlin, everybody, at Coach Tomlin on Twitter. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.